Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Recently, Google had a special offer where you could get a Stadia Premiere Edition completely free if you're a YouTube Premium subscriber. I was lucky enough to get one. Here it is. So it arrived yesterday, so I thought I'd unbox it, set it up, and give it a go, and give some thoughts on how it plays. For those of you who don't know, Stadia is Google's game streaming service. It allows you to play games in up to 4K and 60 frames a second without having particularly powerful hardware. The only real requirements are you need a broadband connection with a minimum of 10 megabits per second. Obviously that's not going to get you the 4K gameplay, but for that you'll need 35 megabits a second. I'm lucky enough to have gigabit internet, so I'm expecting to have a pretty good experience. I have tried out a few different streaming services in the past. I've tried Nvidia's GeForce Now on my Shield, and I've tried xCloud. Both have been pretty good so far. They're both different to Stadia in a few ways, and I'll explain that later on in the video. And if you stick around, I'm going to play a few games as well, so I'm probably going to play NBA 2K20, and Tomb Raider, the Definitive Edition. We'll test those out, see how they go. So the Stadia Premiere Edition, it comes with a Chromecast Ultra, the 4K capable version, and also the Stadia controller. It's a pretty nice package, especially for free. So I was very lucky to get in on this offer. But having said that, Google are the kind of company that might give everyone this for free and then shut it all down in a few years' time. But you know, it's here for now, so yeah, we'll give it a go. So that's out the box now. Here's the controller. It feels pretty nice. The layout is more like a PlayStation 1 rather than the Xbox. I prefer the Xbox layout with the analog stick over here rather than down here, but it's actually a pretty nice size and everything feels pretty good. It's got the Stadia buttons on it. It's got a Google Assistant button, capture button, your usual ABXY, and then some triggers. There's also a USB-C port right here, so that's handy. The controller does have Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, so it connects directly to the Stadia in the cloud, which is an interesting way of doing things. But yeah, that does mean it only works on Chrome on a PC or on a Chrome connected to a Chromecast Ultra. But yeah, let's see what else we get in the box. So there is a power brick here, which is nice. You don't get that with everything nowadays. It's USB-A and then USB-A to C, so that's nice. So that's probably to charge the controller, because I believe the Chromecast is micro USB. But let's see, there we go. So got Chromecast Ultra, nice and small, HDMI, and then yep, micro USB. It's not really that much different to previous Chromecast, so I'm not going to go over it too much. And then you get the Chromecast Ultra power brick, which has an Ethernet port built in as well, which is quite nice. I'm not going to go into massive detail about the Chromecast because these things have been around for ages. It's not the latest one, the Chromecast with Google TV. Is the previous generation Chromecast Ultra. But strangely enough, the Chromecast with Google TV doesn't support Stadia, so I guess that's why this one's still part of the bundle. But it does support up to 4K 60, and then it does support HDR10 as well for games, and also Dolby Vision for video streaming and that kind of stuff. So it's still a pretty capable device. And I mentioned already that there's the Ethernet port on the power adapter, but that's definitely handy because one thing you really want when you're streaming games over the internet is a stable internet connection. And sometimes Wi-Fi, depending on what room you're in, is not really going to do the job. So I got a few games on some special offers when Google were doing it previously. I had no real intention of getting a Stadia, but the games were so cheap I thought I'd try it anyway. So the two I have on my account are NBA 2K20 and Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. Now I have signed up for Stadia Pro so that I can try this at 4K 60, so that's what we're going to see. But if you don't have the Stadia Pro membership, which I think is $7.99 a month, then you will be limited to 1080p 60, but that's not too bad really on the free tier. I'll go into a bit more detail on how you purchase games and how the membership works later on in the video. Okay, so we're now paired and ready to play some games. So the good thing now is Stadia is linked to the Chromecast, so if I want to play, I just have to turn the controller on now. Okay, so now we're loading up NBA 2K20. So I've never played this on Stadia before, so this will be a good test of how fast it loads. So it's checking my connection. So as you can see, we're into the game loading type. We're into the game load screen, which is pretty great. I didn't have to copy anything, I didn't have to install anything. So this is a good start. The load screens are taking longer than I would expect though, but I guess I'm already used to playing on PC, so I'm going to mute all this stuff because last time I showed NBA 2K screens I got a copyright strike. Okay, so finally we're into a game. Okay, I'm rubbish at playing as a team. I always play on my own, but let's see how it goes. I'm also used to playing 2K21 now at this point, and the timing for the shots is different. So I'm going to make a lot of excuses for why I'm rubbish. But so far, to be honest, there's no latency. Well, there's no noticeable lag, which is good. And I don't know how clear it's coming through on the screen as well, but it looks pretty good from here. And this is only at 1080p. I've not even gone for Stadia Pro yet. Let's see if I can put some free throws down. Nope. It's crazy. I'm too used to 2K21 already, but what can you do? Let's see how quick it is to switch to another game. Okay, so I've subscribed now to Stadia Pro. It's actually $8.99 a month, not what I was saying earlier. Okay, so exit game. So they're putting surveys up. Can't be bothered to do that. So this is quite cool. Even though I'm on the Chromecast, I do get a menu now of the games that I've got. So I'm going to try Tomb Raider now. So you can see the little HDR things come up on my TV. So that's part of Stadia Pro as well. That was pretty quick to get into the menu, much quicker than NBA 2K. Let's click new game. I'm just going to put it on normal. This is looking pretty good so far. I'm going to skip the cutscene. So let's just have a look at the connection status. So 4K is on, high dynamic range is on, saying data usage may reach 20 gig an hour, which is quite a lot. So that's something to keep a note of if you're on a capped internet plan. So I'm in the game now, and I'm not noticing any perceptible lag, at least, between me and the game. Not really sure what I'm supposed to be doing here. I mean, this is obviously just the start of the game, but everything looks pretty good. It definitely looks like it's in 4K, and I'm not noticing any delay while I'm playing as well, which is good. I honestly couldn't tell the difference whether this is on a console or being streamed, which is, I guess, the idea. Everything's happening as I'm pushing the buttons. I can feel the vibrations when it's supposed to. The only thing is I'm clearly not very good at the game, but yeah, so Tomb Raider looks pretty good, which is nice. What's interesting is detecting some issues with my connection, which must be Wi-Fi issues, I guess. Maybe should have plugged in by Ethernet. So this will be interesting. Can you play a multiplayer game online through Stadia? Again, the thing to note was I've never played PUBG on this before, and I was able to just get straight in, which was great. Okay, so there's a bit of a lag in this lobby, but it seems to have cleared up already. I don't know if PUBG supports 4K, but let's have a look at the... Well, it says 4K and HDR's on, but graphics don't look great, but I don't think PUBG is a particularly amazing graphical game anyway. Now, one thing I don't know is whether this is crossplay or if it's just playing with other people on Stadia. I would assume it's crossplay, because I don't think there's that many people playing on Stadia, but I don't know, I'll have to look into that. As you can see, gameplay looks pretty great, and I didn't really experience any lag or latency, which is pleasing. It was particularly impressive that I could play PUBG, which is a multiplayer game online, with relative ease. I did lose a bit of footage there, so you didn't see the full play, but it runs pretty well, so that's nice. One concern, I guess, is the amount of data Stadia uses. I mean, you saw there that if you're playing in 4K, it can use up to like 20 gig an hour. I don't really see that being an issue in the UK, as most of our broadband packages are unlimited. But if you're traveling, or if you live in a country where you have, data caps and stuff, that might be an issue. So something to note. But yeah, let's talk about how you actually buy those games. Stadia actually has a bit of a strange way of how you actually get games to play. So like I said earlier, there is a membership, which is not mandatory, but on the free tier you get 1080p 60, and on the paid tier, which is $7.99 a month in the UK, you get 4K, up to 4K 60 on supported games. But you still have to purchase your games on top of this. So NBA 2K20 I got on sale, but it was $2.99, and I think Tomb Raider was actually free. So there are some good sales every now and then. And I did hear actually that Destiny 2 is now going to be completely free to play on Stadia. So that's quite a big deal. But yeah, again, free tier limited to 1080p 60, and the pro tier, it will then go up to 4K 60. So everyone really has a different idea on how you do this. Nvidia, they have it so you get some games included with your GeForce Now subscription, but you can also play games you own on stuff like Steam and other game stores just by logging into your Shield. Okay, slight correction here. I did say that Nvidia includes some games with your subscription, but now you do have to own every game. So you either have to own it on Steam, or the Epic Game Store, and I do think they've got a few other stores they support as well. But that still gives you the double option of owning it so you can play locally on your PC and then using GeForce Now maybe in another room or as a travel alternative. But yeah, that's a slight correction. Microsoft is different. It's more of a Netflix style approach. So you pay their $10.99 a month for Ultimate Game Pass and you can stream all the games that are in the collection. There's pros and cons to both ways, really. The Stadia one is quite limiting because you can only play it on Stadia devices, whereas GeForce Now you can play games that you already own on PC. So you've got two options there, and obviously any game that's on xCloud you can also play on your Xbox, and some of them even on your PC as well locally. So it does give you a bit of a mix there. The Xbox one is probably the sweet spot, I think, for me, because you can, when you're in your house, you can play the games, you can download the games locally to your consoles and own it that way. And then if you do want to play on the go, you can just use xCloud to take it away. But then the other way of looking at that is Stadia has the lowest entry cost. I mean, the Premiere bundle that I got for free cost $89.99, which is a lot cheaper than Xbox One S or Xbox Series S, for example, and a Game Pass subscription, or an Nvidia Shield TV and a GeForce Now subscription. You're both looking around the 180, £200 mark minimum there, if you're buying brand new, of course. But obviously those devices do have a bit more going for them than the Chromecast. So yeah, there's lots of pros and cons really of the different approaches. And the other thing with xCloud, I guess, you can just play straight on your Android phone with the app. You don't actually have to own an Xbox. You could just stream straight to it. But I'm not sure how many people will really be doing that. Maybe if you had an Android tablet, I guess, is a good gaming system on the go. But really, I think xCloud is something that complements your Xbox rather than replaces it. Whereas Stadia looks really to be your kind of only console, I think, which I guess explains the way they have their purchasing options. My general thoughts about game streaming are it does have quite a bright future, providing that you have a good broadband connection. I do see this being a good option for casual gamers going forward. People who aren't as bothered about the people who aren't as perceptive maybe as the pro gamers and people who play esports titles, that kind of stuff. There's some massive benefits that we saw in this video about you don't have to wait for the games to install, that kind of stuff, which I guess now with the new consoles, the Series S and X and the PS5, that you're starting to do away with those massive waiting times. You're starting to do away with those massive waiting times with the SSDs and whatnot, but it is still more instant on Stadia. You don't have to install anything once you're set up. Is Stadia the future? I don't know. Google, like I said earlier, they have a habit of killing these things after a few years, so it'd be interesting to see where we are in maybe 1 or 2 years' time. It's definitely got potential, but I think for now Google need to work on getting maybe some big exclusive games and bringing Stadia to more devices. As I mentioned earlier, the new Chromecast with Google TV doesn't support Stadia. And I know it's a brand new device, it's been out probably less than a month, but it's made by Google and they make Stadia. You'd expect them to have Stadia ready for that. But they don't at the moment. So yeah, we'll see. I obviously, like I said, I got this for free, so I'm happy with it. I'm gonna keep it around as an option. Like I said, they do have some good game sales. I have a decent internet connection, so I can play these games pretty well. But would I recommend you going out and buying it? I'm not sure. If you already have a Chromecast Ultra and you can just buy the controller, and you have, like I said, have a decent broadband connection, it's pretty good. But I would suggest maybe if you don't have any of the stuff, try playing in Chrome first, see how it works for you on your connection, and then maybe you can invest in some hardware afterwards. One good thing, when you look at the size of the Chromecast and the controller, I mean, this is a pretty portable setup. So if you travel a lot, which obviously not many of us are doing at the moment in the pandemic, this can be a pretty good bundle for you. Hotel Wi-Fi is getting better and better. 5G is getting out there. So this could be a pretty compelling travel gaming setup if you regularly travel away for work, that kind of stuff. Which, to be honest, that might be something I use it for in the future. If you enjoyed the video, let me know in the comments, and give me a like and subscribe. We just hit 500 subscribers, which really means a lot to me. I'd really love to get to 1,000 at some point, so that's my next target. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks, guys.